Hey there. Just made a nice soup. Veggie soup. Good. Good. Sensei L. Bob's vegetable soup is good. Not processed. Onions, carrots, garlic, peas, seasonings, steel cut oats, kind of old English oatmeal basically, but better than rice. Good. Hello there, you two. 1 minute and 8 seconds. So I was watching Buddy blindly put this morning's dragon ramble up on some place, and it appeared on my thing somewhere else, which was all right, but kind of made me realize that I really do ramble. And I don't, sometimes I don't finish the story before I start on to the next one. It's definitely a stream, a ramble of consciousness. That's for sure. So, 3 of us. Okay, very good. Within almost 2 minutes. Very good. So, tonight on Sensei Al Bob, I am, the name of it is Wherever You Go, There You Are, right? So, again, lots of streams, lots of other people's channels I'm looking at. And pretty much everyone is kind of going on about, oh, the gravity this and the sunspots that. And my God, it's the end of the times. Sorry. Now, if we ever get a X blast from the sun, we don't have to worry about squat. We're toast. We're not like, oh, our electronics. No, we are physically toast. The dose of radiation we're going to get, I mean, we won't have an atmosphere. We will be kind of boiling in our own stew pretty quick. So you don't have to worry about nothing, right? If the poles shift, forget about that shit, if that actually happens, the the winds, forget a tornado, forget a hurricane. These winds will, forget hundreds of miles. These will be hypersonic. The wind going across the surface of the earth will be going at 7,000 miles an hour, and will just be turned into, dust. Dust in the wind. I think that's what that song's about. So, I wouldn't worry about that. No. What I am a little more concerned about is this falderah with our political system, right? And that, they shut down a quarter of the government. Well, the 3 quarters that they left is the ones that make money for the rich guys. That one little quarter that isn't, it's like all the poor people, the folks who have to eat, who their only food is food stamps. That's kind of me, you know. They got no money, They give me about, I don't know, 45, $60 a month. And that's all I eat. All I really get is, vegetables, And, there's a big bag of chicken thighs, 20 pounds of chicken thighs for $5. I'll get that, And, I'm old enough, whatever, toxic Avenger is in that, chicken thigh, it's not going to bother me too much. The protein will do me better. So, I have this kind of perspective that most people don't have. I have nothing, basically homeless guy who, you know, the universe takes care of, and I'm not weeping, I'm helping others. So That's kind of where my point of view is. And I've died 6 times already, so I know I'm not dying again until it's time to say goodnight, Gracie. And we're going to do a lot of fun stuff before then. So, I mean, the window is open, the opportunity is here. So, I have no real problem with anything going on, actually. Let me clean my glasses so I can see. So, but the real deal is, as my grandma would say, don't worry about the things you can't change and work on those things you can. And don't get involved unless you can do some good. I mean, if you get involved in whatever and it causes more havoc, more confusion, more whatever, then you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? And you should help people out by giving them a hand up and not a hand out, right? Now, if the guy needs lunch, buy him lunch. If the guy needs or gal needs, whatever, help him out with that, and you can view it as anything you want. But, you know, the topic of wherever we go, there you are, pretty much goes to the point that everything, last night's little thing was, who are you? Where'd you come from? What are you doing here, right? So since we are here for eternity until we figure out how to bring back the only thing that truly exists, and that is love's co-creation, we're just going to keep, so we have to work at ascending to our higher self. I mean, that's really the tool we need, because then it allows all the other tools at our access, and a good example is, I think I told this story a couple of times, but I'll tell it again because it's just recent. There's Buddha by the side of the road, and he's like luminescent, and the mud puppet traveler goes, whoa, that looks like God, oh yeah, ooh, and goes over him and taps him, Buddha on the shoulder. Excuse me, are you God? And Buddha looks at him, no. Well, what are you? And Buddha says, I'm awake. Now, Buddha, Jesus, Vishnu, and all the other avatars were awake, right? And all the things they did, they didn't do like, Jesus, died for our sins. Not so much, because we did not sin. We do not live in sin. What we do live is in unconsciousness, right? So be awake. Wake up, right? Now, I had to, go to sleep for 18 years and live in a swimming pool of chocolate mousse and wear a napkin on my head when I had dinner. And then, I keeled, face down into a plate of spaghetti. Woke up in the emergency room. They're about to cut me up and take, replumb my heart and take off my legs and all the rest. And luckily, my client, amazing Darth Vader lawyer, was right next to me, and I said, "Hey, buddy, don't let them do anything to me. Let them cut me. Don't let me." Right. And I said to the doctor, "See this guy? You know who he is. You see him on TV. He'll eat you alive. He'll own you and your children and your children's children's children, and this hospital if you even think about cutting me. Give me my release form." And then I turned to him. So you must know some alternative folk. Oh, what do you mean? I said, masseuse, chiropractor, acupuncturist. He said, oh, yeah, I know. I said, give me your phone. Let me talk to him. Hey there, I'm nearly dead. I need a colonic. I need this. I need that, and I'm with here. You see the phone number? Your lawyer, he's going to pay for it, right? Okay. And, this guy, he needed me more than I needed him. So he kept me alive. He took me to his, hacienda, put me up in the guest place, and then, I got my blood chelated about 20 times. I, had a bunch of colonics and sucked all that goo out of me. And then I went to a nutritionist and then an herbalist and an acupuncturist and a masseuse, and for about 3 weeks, I was he took me from place to place. Well, he didn't, his chauffeur did. And he got me to a place where I was alive and I could finish what the contract that he wanted me to do. So I did. And everybody was happy. I was alive. He gave me a little bag of cash, and I came up to the school here and tried to recuperate. And then a snow storm came, a really big one. I got stuck up here for 6 friggin' weeks, right? And all I had to eat was oatmeal and onions, and not that many of them. And so I lost 60 pounds, 10 pounds a week. And it changed my metabolism. I didn't want that, chocolate mousse anymore. But I came to the realization of, okay, I went through that. It gave me a real, okay, this is what it is. And so for me to rebuild my everything, I basically had to get rid of everything, right? I had to simplify. And I had to find the right doctors, take care of me, da 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 da. And so now, 5 years later, 8 years later, here I am. And it's brought me to you guys. And so, what that little story tells you is that wherever I go, there I am. No matter what universe, there I am. This little peanut guy here who was put on this earth to take this path, to ascend. So, after doing that, I woke up a lot. A lot, So as that goal is to open one's mind and see and teach patience, perseverance, goodwill, and one may attain. That's right, Eden, and that's kind of what I had to do. But I still can be a moron, right? I would say 80% of the time, maybe 90, I'm awake. Sometime between 20 and 10%, I'm a total do-do-do-do-do. And so the latest I had was with my car. And that's one of those, and it's not my car anymore. It's my friend's car, so because I can't have anything, but I use it. Right. Well, evil, you got to realize evil is so sweet, so alluring, so ooh la la, So there's a guy, I don't know, again, I see all this stuff on the internet, and I think and pray about what I'm going to say to you guys about an hour or so before I go there. And this guy was going on about the globes, Golden Globes. And they came in and they inoculated everybody, some kind of skit or something. But they actually inoculated all these, right? And then the guy on the podium says, and anybody who doesn't want to get an inoculation, put a napkin on your head. And where that came from, in France, which is the land of really rich, opulent, decadent evil, there's this meal that you eat, this little bird cooked in the most succulent way that you pop the whole thing in your mouth and you eat the organs, the bones, and they cook it in such a way that everything's tender and juicy and ooh la la. But it's like eating little children. And that is the kind of metaphor of what it is. So by putting people, and you're supposed to put the napkin on your head so God can't see you doing this evil, right? So you do that in Hollywood, they're not eating little birds. They're doing something else that's kind of, want to be on the down low. So evil's everywhere, and it's our whole, see, that's Eden, you have to realize the only true thing that exists is love's co-creation. Everything else is an illusion. So all this evil, all this stuff is an illusion. Now, what it came from was the big separation, right? So back in the day, all things were dark. And then the word was heard, let there be light, right? Right? Big, the Big Bang. What was the Big Bang? That was Lucifer letting go from the hegemony of the archangel set and started a war, Big Bang, right? And he shot down here to, the Big Bang, bang, and then nanoseconds, all this stuff that never existed, at least in this, in the dark matter world of love's co-creation. He illuminated Lucifer. What is he? The great illuminator, brings light, right? And everyone's, I want to be a light worker. Well, they want to work for Lucifer, putting the napkin on their head. No, sorry, gang. This is not it. It's to wake up to love's co-creation, to serve all our relations, everything, right? And bring it in line to love's co-creation. And that includes Lucifer, because until Lucifer comes back into the fold, we go to him and it's all right, buddy. Love still, love is still love's co-creation. I do not use the word God or Lord. Lord means Baal, Baal means Lucifer, or really Satan. Whereas God over here means dynamic presence from another dimension, which is Lucifer. So the only true words, at least see, I'm a real stickler for words because words mean things. Words are power, right? What is spelling and grammar but a spell? And Mr. Eden or Miss Eden, have you gone to my blogspot, xratted.blogspot.com? I would love it if you did. And I only have 3/4 of one novel there. I have 26 novels, about 200 short stories, about 800 thesis papers. I didn't put it all up there because I don't want to overload your brain. Just one novel, and it's only 3/4. The other quarter isn't there. And I would love it if you were to go and read it because, it shows off my style, put it in that temp. And the other thing is, I cover many interesting things, meaning love. I mean, like my love of my life and how that was taken from me, right? And what it meant and how I felt about it and what went on about that, right? Where, the deal I made to come here, to serve love's co-creation, right? And, my being in what is known as Lost Vegas. We have this thing called our vagus nerve, right? That controls really pretty much everything. It's the electric circuit board between our hormones and our organs and our consciousness, at least what we think is our mind. See, our mind isn't what we are. Our mind is just a Rolodex of stuff, right? The real CPU is our heart, right? So back in the day, when all things were dark, black dark matter, which is 99.99903% of everything that we can't even see. We can only see the stuff that is illuminated by Satan's light. And Satan's light isn't even, it's not a photon, right? All that this light does is make a shadow, right? If you go into, the dictionary and look at what is black or dark or any of the above, it'll say that it'll have all kinds of stuff. But once it gets to the physics part of the definition, it says that black is the presence of every frequency of photonic light. Okay, what else should we say here? Yes, eating larks is illegal now. Heard about this. The vampires. Exactly. See, you guys are right on top of it. I don't have to explain the whole thing. The whole Golden Globe. Yep. Hollywood is sick. Hollywood, that's Holly, magic wands are made from Hollywood, Per se, is the ignorance of the individual being ruled by desire. Thank you. I like that ink. See, ink. Meant to be, I made much love. Hey, buddy. Hey, thanks for sticking this morning's, rant up there. It was good for me to see. Yep. Exactly. The Afghans, every empire that's ever tried to, conquer Afghanistan has got their friggin' butts kicked. The Egyptians, the, Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the English, the Spanish, the Nazis, you name it, the Russians, us. Let's see, we're there for a different reason. We're there to make money. I mean, the two reasons why we went into Afghanistan is when the Taliban took over and we put them in power, They're the Mujahideen. They got rid of the poppies. The only people, that's why in the 80s we went from heroin to cocaine and crack and meth because our supply of poppy was cut off. Vietnam and this, and now it's come back with a vengeance. Yes, curse of, yeah, it's a curse. You got it. Spelling. So if you go read my stuff, boy, do I kick the butt out of spelling. Yes, exactly, Drake. It's okay to learn the mechanism of the. That's why I'm a scholar. That's what I've been doing for 40 years. Just don't get lost in the lights of the ride. Yep. And that's why we have to work on an alternative aesthetic, right? Yes, David Lynch, Treachery of Language. Yep. Was Monk. Yep. Ignorance is the chief cause of pain. This is so true. Most of us are bound by this ignorance. It's, I'm one guy who can speak to that. The ride of yourself is bondage. One simply refrains from forming the attachment. Exactement. And being awake because, again, I'm going to try and keep the link instead of this morning when I was like, bing, 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 bing. And it was a stream of consciousness. And if you could go for the ride, it would, my little shamanic thing is to break the bonds and you have to reform them, and we do it as a clan, a cadre, and all our relations. So there I was a couple weeks ago, driving along before Christmas, and I was going to have a meeting. I was trying to get a bunch of different churches to do something righteous, right? This town, the city of Roanoke, has 600 churches. Only 3 does anything for the poor. None of them, except maybe the Catholic Church, none of them stay open, right? The Catholic Church kind of, stays open every day it's open, and every day it's open like from 6-ish to 10 or 11 or, most of the day, So, and big church, big cathedral kind of place, and they heat the cathedral so homeless people can come in and sit down and pray, or anybody can come in and pray. So there's this thing called the mission, it's supposed to take care of the homeless. Don't do it. There's a thing called HAT, Homeless Action Team. They don't do it. TAP, don't do it. And these guys get millions of dollars out of grants, and they spend 98% in organizational, paychecks. Guy who runs Goodwill pays himself $300,000. You're talking about evil. Anyway, so I was kind of the mission over in southeast part of town. They have this place, and they like cordwood, stick the people in there, and they can only come in at 5, and they get kicked out by 8. Then they have to figure out, if it's 9 degrees below zero during the day, who cares? But they get $50,000 a head for that. So, but they don't want, I used to work there as a shrink / electrician or electrician / shrink. And I get people off the drugs, get them focused, get them clean, get them out the door, get them a job, get them their own place. And my supervisor, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do this. We're getting $50,000 a head. We don't. Anyway, so they own a lot of houses, and they just keep them abandoned. What I want to do is get the people from the homeless people from the mission to fix up, 5 people fix up a house. They all get their room. They get a room, and that's theirs, period, right? And they have to take care of that place, No one's. It's not some. It's theirs. They have to get a job, pay the rent, pay the utilities, and all. And I wanted to do three houses together. That one house with five homeless people, two houses each with a homeless family to put in there, and that three backyards would be turned into a garden where they would feed themselves from that, right? And learn trades and get a job and get a life and get the kids so they don't repeat this pattern, right? Do they want to do it? No. The only person who's really trying, and this is one of the only organizations in our whole big city of diversity that's doing anything, is Salvation Army. And the husband wife team who runs it doing a great job. They're better than any of the folk who were there in charge before. And they're in their 30s and they've got a lot of gumption, and they weren't rich or weren't born into this or any of the above. They kind of came from knowing what it's like. So they are really doing a good job. And they got, they're up against the wall because the institution, the Salvation Army, which is really good, still is kind of, 100-something years old. And so it's kind of like, creaky. Not like it's going to fall apart, but like, to move, it's kind of tough. So anyway, I was going up to this meeting because I had this idea of getting these blah, blah, blah. And I was going to administer it for him, right? Write the grants, do everything. Just wanted to stay in one of those rooms and maybe get a few more dollars than $300 a friggin' month. So I'm thinking about this and how I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And I'm going down and I pass, and I'm very habitual. This is one of the things you got to watch out for, habitual activities. When I drive, I go the certain way. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take this road, this road, this road. Anyway, I kind of went right by where I should have turned left. And I was going down and I didn't turn there. Now, I could have stayed on the road that I didn't turn off of and would have taken me to the same place where I was going to go. It would have probably taken me 2 more minutes. Might have gotten stopped at a stoplight. The way I was going was the back way, so I wouldn't have to hit any stoplights. Anyway, so what do? The moron turns around and goes back to that road, turns there, and I get a speeding ticket because it's a frigging, you go down this big steep hill and it says 50 miles an hour. I was doing like 35. I mean, on a major thoroughfare, 35, is the major speed, but not here. And not when that policeman on his little motorcycle. So he gives me a ticket. And that ticket's worth $260. I live on 300, so I'm going, and I don't have to go to court. I don't have to pay it until, early, mid-February. And this is December. So forget about it. Go on. Slow down. So that's a good thing. I'm slowing down. So last week, I said, well, I got to take care of this. So I better go to court and find out all the ins and outs of what this is and how many points and what's it cost and blah, 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 blah. And what's the alternatives, blah, 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 blah. So I go to the court, clerk's office, and I go in there and and there's nobody there except this one woman, no way over there. And I go, excuse me. And she goes, I don't do that. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, got this quizzical look on my face. And I say, but, and she goes, she just puts her finger up like this, like, don't even say a word. And I go, and so instead of getting pissed off, instead of leaving the place, I go, I start to wake up and I go, obviously, I'm supposed to talk to this woman. So I go, hey, why don't you put your hand up like this, the hand you write with? And she does, because 99.999% of everybody who I asked to do that puts her hands up. And then I give her a cold reading. And she's like 40 feet, she's on the other end of the office. And I give her this, and she starts to cry. And she comes over and she goes, I've been seeing a shrink for 20 years. And in 3 minutes, you've told me more. You've helped me more. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. And she goes over to a computer terminal and prints up everything I need, right? And as she's doing that, this guy in the robe, the judge, comes in. And he goes, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm getting him some paperwork. And he goes, you don't do that. Just what she said. I don't do that. But she goes, but he's such a great man, pointing at me. And I'm looking like a homeless guy, I'm basically wearing the same clothes, which I have worn for the last 3 weeks. And the judge looks at me and with a quizzical look, and he goes, "She hates everyone. She doesn't like anybody. She doesn't like me. I'm her boss. I'm the head guy here." And she goes, "Oh, he's got to read your palm. Read his palm. Read his palm." And I look at him, "Your Honor, just put your hand up like this, the one you're right with." And I do, and I give him a reading, and he's like, "Whoa!" And and I just keep going, everything, all the way back to the Wheaties, and he goes, "What are you doing now?" And I said, "Really? No, I'm just getting this paperwork." And he goes, "Can I take you to lunch?" I said, "Sure. You know, I have no money. You're gonna take me to a nice place? Let's go." So he does. Really nice place. This place called the Roanoke Hotel, which is like their dining room is like superb, the best, the best, the best. Where they do put the napkin on your head, right? So go in there and we start talking and talking and we talking about philosophy and me, the griot. I just keep going, and we start to talk about the Panapium, and that's this when England became this gigantic empire, they had to figure out how to keep an eye on everyone. And that was like this optical. It's a philosophy thing. And they built the prisons like it and their court system like it and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we started talking about that, and then we talk about a French philosopher. What's his name? Michel, starts with an S or a V. Anyway, and I start talking about that guy, and it blows his mind because he goes, that's like that's what I wanted to study. That's what I wanted to be. That's the guy I wanted to write like. That's what I wanted to do. And he goes on with a story about how he went off to college and studied theology and philosophy, because in undergraduate schools, depending on what school you're at, it's one of the stepping stones to becoming a lawyer. His dad's a lawyer, right? So he does really good in that, and he does some pre-law stuff too, and but he's applying to grad school, and he's going to go the full Monty and go study theology. And he's going to go through this program that will get him to Oxford, get his PhD. And his father goes, "What are you doing? You're going to law school." He goes, No, I want to be a philosopher, and blah, 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 blah. The guy, and his father goes, "No, I've got you signed up to go to, Harvard Law School, and you're going to become a lawyer, and you're going to, become a partner in my business, and then you're going to become a judge. I wasn't able to become a judge. You will." So his dad wants to live vicariously through his son. And his son's dream is to be a philosopher. And of course, and the father says, "Listen, this is a crossroads in your life. You want to go on to be a philosopher? Good. It's on your nickel. And, if I walk out this door and you're saying you're going to be a philosopher and not go to law school, you're dead to me. Don't come home for Christmas. You're not part of our family. You're out of the will. You get no money. You're going to have to go work at Burger King. And by the way, I'm not going to pay for your last semester. That last $12,000, and not coming from me at this point. If you say you're going to, so you probably won't be able to even graduate. You want that? That's your. You got that choice. This is his father, right? Really, really. Anyway, of course, what's the guy do? He goes to law school, becomes a judge, right? But, he still loves philosophy and theology and aesthetics. We're talking about aesthetics. I'm going, Judge, we need to, I gave him my card with, Dreamy Dreamlight. I said, you should drop in. So I hope you're here, Judge. So what is this little story about? I'm unconscious. The universe says, just keep going straight out. Miss the ticket. Well, like the moron I am, I go, "Oh, I gotta go that way." I turn around, get a ticket that's worth 200 and something or more. And so do I take it upon myself to go, "Oh, my life is ruined. It's terrible, blah, blah," because I'm living on, And, so that's still in the back of my head. And a couple weeks later, I get a flat. And again, it was one of these moron things. I should have turned, and I was going, if I go this way, I'll probably get, it's traffic, and there's, 10 lights I have to get through. I'm just going to go up the back way and around, right? Well, I do. And in the road, there's a metal plate with a big spike in it. And so no matter how, I mean, if you hit a 2x4 that had a nail in it, you have a 360 chance of not getting a flat. This thing, if you hit it, the metal plate would spin that spike straight up and you would rip the tire apart, right? And that's all because both of those things were about habitual way of going, being unconscious, and being a little impatient. If I go this way, I might have to wait. This way it might be a little longer, but there are no lights and there's no traffic. And so I made it back to meaning the things in the tire, and the little thing on my dashboard doesn't say I have a flat tire yet. So I go, okay, I've got 14 miles to get over the Firestone. So I go back the way I would have come. I went through every freaking light, all 6 of them. And so I come out where I had got the thing in there. I stop at the stop sign. And as I kind of roll up the stop sign, I look, and there's no cars coming. And I could just roll through that stop sign, but I go, no. I'm not going to be in a rush. I'm not going to be impatient. The best way to do, you come to a stop sign, you stop, complete stop, and you go 1, 2, 3, and then go. I mean, that's what they teach you in the driver school. And I do that, and by doing that, I come to the first light. It's red, but just as I come to it, and there's no one in that lane, it turns green. I go through it, go to the next light, it's red, it turns green. I take a left turn, and I go through 4 more lights, green. I mean, it's red, green, red, green, red, green. I get to where I have to cut across, the highway, and I have to wait at the light. And normally this thing takes 10 minutes to make that left turn. But I roll up to it, it's red, green, right? And go right straight to into the in front of the Firestone tire place thing. And I walk in, and this is where I get my car service. So the guy knows me. He goes, "Oh, what do you need?" I said, "I got this flat tire. I got a pin in my tire." He goes, "Well, it's a bad day for us, Al. You probably won't. We can't get you in until next week." I said, "Buddy, that means I'm sleeping in your place, And he goes, We walk out. He looks at it. Look at this plate. He said, "I won't pull it up because the air is slowly coming out. So, okay, we'll see what we can do. Go sit down with the waiting space." And everyone's like, they're getting the car fixed. It's like going to the dentist. So I talked to one person. "So what are you doing? Right? And who are you?" And anyway, long story short, I get everyone to hold hands and meditate. And I start to levitate the Firestone place, out of the shopping mall. And the manager who knows me, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, hey, I have to sleep here tonight, and maybe for the rest of the week. So I'm just kind of rearranging the furniture a little bit." And he's okay. So he says, "Just land this place, And so he goes back, and within 40 minutes, he gets everyone in that circle's car done out the door. Supposed to, nobody's going to leave before 7 p.m. They get out the door. He comes by and he fixes, he gives me a brand new tire, which is going to cost me $125. Now, one of you guys sent me some nice gratuity through Western Union. Any of you want to do this, I could truly use it. You just send it to Al, Martino, Western Union, Roanoke, Virginia. Get a hold of me at the Due to Wake 42 and give me the tracking number. And a number of you have done it. It really works great. A number of you sent me stuff at my P.O. Box, 1165 Benton, Virginia, 24179. And you've sent me all kinds of beautiful things, cheeses and cakes and paintings and letters that you've written. I just love it, It just makes your sensei Alba's heart go pitter-patter. Anyway, so, 2 strikes, speeding ticket, thing in my tire. I have stopped being impatient. I have stopped being unconscious when I drive, right? So, I've done this amazing thing with these people. They all left amazed because they got out before 7 p.m. And then when the guy, so I said, "What's it cost me?" He goes, "Well, let's see, we'll take this and do that and maybe this coupon." And so it's $62. And the money that was sent to me was $3 less than that. And all I had in my pocket was $3. So I had exactly the right change. And I go out there, I get in the car, and not only has he put a tire on my car, but he has filled the windshield wiper thing up and filled my gas tank up. And then later in that week, I went to the court and had that little experience with the court folk. And Judge, I hope you're here. And the judge gave me a nice little gratuity, not just buying me lunch. And my car started to shake because I had one really great tire and one tire that was almost balls. I went back to them and they gave me the other tire for $62. And that's, so after that, all of that, I had left in my pocket $33, I still have, 29. So that's how it rolls. In this way, pain is quite impossible. That is. What are you talking about, ink? Let's see. To rid yourself of this bondage, one simply refrains from forming attachments. Exactly. The heart. And ink says, in this way, the pain is quite impossible. This is a science. Yes, pain is quite impossible. I mean, me. I got some really things wrong with me, but I'm still alive. Every morning, because when I go to sleep, everything gets unplugged. My autonomic system takes over. So everything that I set up through prayer, when I wake up, it's not set up. That's why I have to, meditate and pray to replug all the things so the pain isn't there. I mean, it's there. It's just, not bothering me. I'm munching my mostly cooked dal. Lunchtime here. You've been watching WSO Channel Bob. I love dal. Yes, dal is yummy. Isn't dal that stuff that I was trying to explain that is that Indian stuff that tastes there? It's like triple butter or something like that. Hindu, Kush. Yep. Now back to Eden. It says message restricted. What is that? You sent a message that only you can read, or left alive on the first British incursion into Afghanistan. Yeah, to tell the story. Yep. Watson was a Sherlock's dealer. Yes. That little puppy. They are as corrupt as buggery. Say that again. The English are just the more polite version of the Romans. Boom, 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 boom. Hello, Sarah. Hey, Dragon. G, good to see you, bud. Bless those good mofos. They have been good to me. Yeah, well, there is no good or bad. And I worked for the Boys Athletic League, and there was the guy who ran it. He said, "There's no such thing as a bad boy." Yeah, well, when one of those bad boys are shooting you, Bob, I have heard you tell this at least 3 times. That must make me fairly attentive. Yes, more than me, because it's still so fresh in my mind. The lesson, anyway. Attentive and patient, or as batty as John? Well, maybe all 3. Yeah, I mean, this is how things work. Same with green lights. Yep. If you let yourself open, as long as you don't become habitual, as long as you don't are unconscious, all of this stuff works really good. So that's my New Year's resolution. No habitual while I'm driving, conscious all the way. The tire would only have to be replaced if there was a sidewall. Well, I really made a big hole in it. I mean, it kind of ripped it, not just punctured it. And my phone screwed up, and I had to go to 3 different phone companies because they all wanted to sell me. You need. Well, we'll give you a new phone. I mean, that's how I got this thing. And there was one phone guy who didn't care. He showed me how to reset my phone. And he said, This is a crappy phone, but if it works for you, that's good." And it does. Buddy Blindy. Yep. Hey, Kedre. Ready to talk to it, either neg or positive. Yep. Hey, John's MZ has its fair share of country roads. Yes, it does. So, buddy, you out in the hinterlands of New Zealand, or are you a city boy? Are you are you a capital city boy? Were you rocked by those earthquakes? Yep. Clarified buddy. Thank you, buddy. Clarified butter. Yep. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Italian in the subway. Yes, I can. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I kind of wanted to. So we're into this for 47 minutes here, and there's 12 of us here. This is all good. I just ate it. April sounds, let's see, used to be country. Dublin City, stable diet, Indian with rice. Such things. Coastal town, only a K, all-time resident. It's pretty. Yep. Okay. So, kind of what I was. So that whole little, title. Wherever you go, there you are. So all of the little, ramble that I've been here, and I've been trying to, stick and finish the thought, and not just. So one of the, and I've been seeing all these people going on about end times and the North Pole. I mean, the North Pole has been doing this forever. My dad was in the Air Force. You know, oh, you know, magnetic north was pretty important to those bomber guys, and so they changed it all the time. I mean, it changed all the friggin' time. So they didn't, the GPS guys and those guys do it like every 5 years. Air Force did it like every 6 months, because they were like. Anyway, so what's going on? And like I said, if any of this stuff happens, man, we don't have to worry about it. It'll clean our clock. We won't even know it. Before you can say, but, ting, you will, if the X flare hits us straight on, before you could say, but, you will be toast. If the poles were to switch, before you could say, before you could even get the B out, you would be toast. So there's no real worrying about those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and wherever you go, Inc., there you are. And they're wonderful people wherever you go. I find it every day in every way. They're beautiful people every way, from every type of life. You cannot, well, that person must be. No, they are not. Nobody is the other, right? So, I'm slogging towards Bethlehem here. The bottom line is all of the stuff that's being thrown out politically, economically, it's all a distraction. Doesn't mean a thing. But what we really do have to look at is, Lucifer, right? He is the main man of distraction and illusion. And that's our whole friggin' existence, right? So this illusion isn't just here on this little marble earth. No, sorry to tell you this. It's the whole friggin' universe from the beginning of the alpha to the omega of the Big Bang, right? So it just didn't make us the little marble or even our solar system. And, fill you in on this. Back in the day, I'd give it at least a million, if not almost a billion years ago, our solar system was well populated. You know, there's folks on Venus and Mars, Martians and Venusians, and on the moons of Jupiter. I mean, there's folk all over the place, right? And and there was a planet between Mars and Earth that either like Krypton got blown up because they were screwing around with a really nasty experiment, or they had a war, right? And it kind of, blew where do you think that asteroid came from that killed the dinosaurs, And, what's that big scar across Mars, across the whole friggin' planet? And the Oort belt, out there past Jupiter, where all the crap of this planet was that blew up. So our history is so not what we think it is. You just look at the pyramids; those are so much older. Meaning, at the foot of the Sphinx, it took them maybe 200 years to figure this one out. Somebody, dug a hole down to the footings of the Sphinx, and they found it worn away by water. Well, how'd that happen? Because it's a desert there, right? And they haven't had trees there for at least 3,000 years, right? Last time they had really trees was like maybe 6,000 years, and they were just a few here and there along the rivers. So, you know, the wearing away of the footings of the Sphinx were so intense that it had to be a rainforest. And man, that thing hadn't been a rainforest since anybody remembered. So history is not what we think it is. And there is, and I'm just going to say it, an extraterrestrial. What does that mean? Little green guys, you know, reptiles, insectoid, all the above. But in reality, extraterrestrial, if you go into the Latin and the Greek, what does extraterrestrial mean? It means something more than terrestrial. Could even be guys who were here. The reptiles could be the remnants, the smart dinosaurs that hid under a rock, and then, became, salient. Right. But the thing that kind of makes us different from everybody else is that we have this thing called free will. And all of the folk, and I keep saying the pyramid symbol is very good. There's the guys at the capstone, they're called owners. Then there's then there's this management slice of the pyramid, and they are the people that are like the Illuminati or all those secret societies, the Bilderberg, the CFR, all those guys, the Rockefellers, the Fords, the Rothschilds. They're not the owners. They're the managers. And they aren't even the upper management. They're like upper middle management, right? And I'm not going to go on and explain, each sliver, because that would be a whole show. So that at another time. I'm just giving you the outline. So there's the management guys, and then there is what are known as the worker drones. And the worker drones are people like judges, lawyers, doctors, professors, very important people, and those guys are in the lower part of the worker drones. The upper part are people like Mr. Facebook and Mr. Bill Gates and Mr. Warren Buffett and Mr. All Misters, not too many ma'ams, Mr. Steve Jobs, and those guys were kind of drafted They didn't come up. I mean, those morons didn't invent squat. They just took stuff off the shelf, and they didn't even stick the parts together. Other people did it. They just were drafted to be the poster boy of those things, right? Because they had the charisma, or they looked good in a hoodie, or a black turtleneck, or look frumpy, And how did So that's how they got this. So that's worker drones, right? Then everybody else, below worker drones, they're the expendables. You and I, and as George Carlin would say, is they all belong to a club, and we're not in it. So the only way we have the upper hand to this is that we have this thing called free will. So all of those guys are you think I'm habitual with driving that way and going, and those guys are so locked into what Ike was talking about, Inc. was talking about, in that habitual nature, right? And that's why they're in those two categories of the management and worker drones, because they are just locked in. They can't, they have lost any kind of sense of empathy or connection to their free will, to love's co-creation. They are so locked into the avarice, the greed, wearing the napkin on their head that, So that's why I told that story about driving, and I'll wait at least 10 shows before I try not to repeat myself. Let's see. Lucifer is dead. No, he's around, buddy. Damn straight. Because since the Big Bang, since and Lucifer came shooting out of the hierarchy, right, and went straight into Earth as gigantic lightning bolt. And those little S's on the SS, the Nazi uniforms, that's Lucifer falling to Earth. And you have to realize how this is organized, is that they're elites. Those two groups of the managers and the worker drones, they're elites. They think they're special. They got secret handshakes. They belong to all these secret organizations that have been around for millennia, right? And they changed their names. What we know of the Illuminati or the Masons, or that's just the latest generation, right? And so all of this stuff has been repeating, like a bad meal, like indigestion, right? And so Lucifer, he is here. He is he's around, and it's not so much like he's embodied in this certain, guy, no, with horns and hooves, and no, sorry. It is an energetic of the separation from love's co-creation. And as long as we're in this bubble of illusion, Satan is here, right? Let's see. That's where, and you will be. Let's see. Similar sound of vibrating table. Yep. Similar sound of vibrating table. Yeah. True. Maybe you said something more before that. Sarah jesting with true emotion regarding the rice experiment. Yeah. Staple diet in India. Rice. Okay. So, you guys wanted to meet the reptiles. You wanted to meet the guys the owners, right? So that's where we're going. We've been taking nice little, what do they call that? Road trips. No, when you're in 7th grade and they take you to the museum, right? That's where we're going to go to the secret hall of the owners of illusion. The brotherhood of Satan. Okay, you ready for that? You want to meet the the reptiles in the subway, well, that's where we're going to go. You ready for that? Do we consensus on this one? So much to share. Yeah, Meldick. Yep, that's right, Vlad. At least that's what I've heard. Yes. And everybody who flies on the backside of the moon sees Howard Johnson's and Holiday Inns and Sarah, because if we weren't distracted, our higher selves, we would not you wouldn't need Sensei Al Bob to get you to breathe 20% more and 30% out, and you would be doing that normally, and you would be going into your Akashic record, and you would be getting the 411 on everything, and you would snap your fingers and say, "No more, homeboys. We are in Eden, so let's live like we are." Right, as my grandma would say, "Live like a millionaire, don't be one." Careful with we. It's the we and me that gets things done. That's for sure. Family is just that indescribable. That's good blood. I like that. The they, and the they live. You know. What about us? So us, the us in us is that we have an immortal soul, right? Because we have a free will. That's what that is. So every time we die, we get to choose to come back. Now we are tricked into being in the dharmic wheel. We don't have to be. We can, like Buddha and Jesus and Vishnu and all the rest of the ascended ones, they when they were in their avatar, they were awake all the time. They didn't, like me, go into the bathtub of chocolate mousse. Mirror me or you're all a reflection. Yes. Hey, fish. Hi, sir. It's learning curve. Yes, we're in a learning curve. We're in a sandbox. It's becoming masterful for forming harmony between head and heart. Our superconscious mind, please. Our head is this thing. This is the mind. This is a Rolodex. That's all it is. It's a Rolodex. It has nothing. It's just, part of the ugly bag of water. Within the avatar, in the physical illusion of your avatar, the only real important thing is your heart, that's the CPU, and the blood, right? That's a sacred thing. That's why those morons kill babies and drink their blood, because it's a sacred thing. Yep. And again, ink and all the cadre, we have to be thinking on the alternative aesthetic. I mean, we all are right on with what we are saying here, right? But we have to get this harmonic, in Dune, those guys who were fighting the evil empire, they didn't have guns or spaceships or anything. They rode on worms, and they would, say special words into a megaphone. It wasn't a ray gun. It's just, huh, you know, you know. That's kind of what we have to do in a more shamanic spiritual way. A chicken. buddy. Nick Mirrors should talk about David R. Roberts. The So, Fish, do you have a link to that? Can you link that to my the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail? I would love it if you could. Mischievous chicken. Yes, that's right. Mayor Baba. Yes, let's see. Blue water. Hey there, Blue. Thanks, Jamie. He. Lucifer is not who you think. That's pretty much true. Nothing is true. Everything is permissible. Yep. I would go along with that. As long the only one thing I would put in there, buddy, nothing is true, everything is permissible if you are conscious of the outcomes, ramifications, responsibilities, and cost. Ooh, pleasure second, not my words. I'm a stupid person, but I'm blessed with an inside track. We all are here. Everyone in the cadre is blessed with the inside track. Don't know why. Why? Come on. Because love loves you. Names change, but the game is the same. That's right, Chi. Just like I said, wherever you go, they are. Much love, Blue Water. I feel like there are trails of what the new guys have become, something that we don't know about yet. And that's what we're going to go visit tonight, Fish, in our little meditation. Here it is, an hour, 6 minutes. So let's say we'll chat up a little bit more, maybe an hour, 15 minutes, hour, 20 minutes, and then we will start to breathe 20%. At least it makes sense. Let's see. There's something that we, at least that makes sense. Gotta keep, there is a secret, exactly. And that it's a, you know those Russian dolls that have big doll, next little doll, next little doll, next little doll. We have been living in a consecutive breakaway civilization, you know? And every time humanity on this little marble gets to a certain point, somebody who's pulling the strings of the mud puppet does something. Like, so in 1947, the flying saucers were started to be spotted, and a couple crashed, and governments got a hold of them and started to back engineer things, and then they made, they met the Greys. And look at the Greys. Big heads, big eyes, no dicks, no sexual organs whatsoever. They are clones. They are worker drones. That's what the worker bees are going to become, or are becoming, right? And so Ike went and met them, and also there were the taller Greys that were kind of a little more like the insectoids. And they didn't have, every time you see somebody without reproductive organs, you know they don't have a soul. They have a consciousness, they're self-aware, but they don't have that free will. They're stuck into because they were manufactured. Now see, us, this isn't us. This is an avatar. This is an ugly bag of water. This was manufactured by Enki or whoever to enslave us. And they didn't enslave us to dig up gold. No, we are the gold. We are owned. Our consciousness, our free will, our soul is the strongest power in this artificial universe of the Big Bang. As well. Trust. You want to come home. Exactly, buddy. That's all it is. Welcome home, gang. You might be going to sleep. Well, gee, if you go to sleep in the next, it's now 9 minutes, next 5-8 minutes, good. Go to sleep, and you can go on the ride in dream time, Tilt-a-wheel. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm driving. A friend. I'll end up in mobile again. A lot. Okay. Be safe, Blue. age after age, so it goes, and we can break the line. We can pop the bubble of this illusion. This cadre is so strong, you know. I haven't seen anything like this in a long. And like when I started this back in October, and I said, okay, 40 days and 40 nights. We have an open window here, and you guys have. They came in through the bathroom window. You've all come on in. Yep, Reptilian goes hungry. Let's go where the parasites. Yep, yep, yep. Let's go where the parasite master hides. That's where I'm taking you guys. The Exactamundo. Boo boo boo. Can you talk about the clash of civilizations in Europe? Well, and maybe another time because I said, in 1 hour, 15 minutes, we're going to go into state and we're going to go visit the insectoid owners. And maybe, as we take the journey there, I'll take you through past the different neighborhoods, right? Of the folks who are the watching out for things. You don't want to go there. Let's see, where do we see? Power of one, yeah. The number is 3. 29 equals 3. Yep. No fear. That's what I love about you, bud. Again, what I said, responsibility, being awake. You do that with no fear, not a problem. Fake numbers. Yeah, numbers, discuss the migrations. Okay. But, I kind of, have to. This morning's little ramble was a good example of that. I can go off into tangents, and so I try to have to stay focused on one thing. I'll talk about all this stuff maybe at another time, but I'll like put an asterisk, about okay. Here's this, so take a look at that, and we're going to go into the Akashic Record, gang. So at any point you want to, ask the librarian for anything on anything, where I'll put the asterisk and say, so go take a look at this, And, in your Akashic Record, you can really multitask. There are 9 doors there. Yes, there are doors, you got to go through there, but you can go through the tree of knowledge. But you can multitask. So, and this will be a good evening to practice all of this. Discovered, I just punch them in the face and not let them spook me. Exactly. They're monsters etched on the film. Just see them with red sneakers and tie their shoelaces together and get the heck out of there. Linkages. Any linking and showing, and I appreciate everything. And I kind of go see them all, and I try to speak to everything you send me and bring it into the chat. Am I back? Did I make it back? Ant people. Yes, we're going to go visit them. They aren't the insectoids. So am I here? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chi. Recent interview with Cliff High. Cliff is the bomb. I like Cliff. Oh, I saw that one. Cliff High and Richard Dolan. Richard Dolan, if you want to know anything about all of the breakaway civilization and all the above, he is truly a scholar. Joseph P. Farrell is too, but Joseph is like so locked in. Richard Dolan is really, really, of all of that UFO gang and all of that stuff, He is of the best heart, the best mind. He's coming from a really, you know, place over here where he wasn't Mr. UFO, and he kind of tiptoed in. And because of what happened to his father, he really integrates this whole thing spiritually. And so you should go watch his chats and be part of his little community. He is the bomb. I'm of all of them. Adolin's the man. Yep. And he's got a rarely intelligent, beautiful wife. He's open. Yep. He's everything. And he's not stuck. A lot of these guys get stuck. The only other, what's his name? The big guy who goes on about finance, who is, what's his name? You've told me his name before. He's the guy with admiralty law, right? He's another really, I like him too. You know, he's not encompassing, but he's open. I like him too. And the chick who does, excuse me, the woman, the lady, the mistress who does Stop the Crime. Now that lady is passionate. She is like, because she's a great example of someone who had a worldview, and then someone rocked her world and lifted up the curtain, and she was like, whoa. And so she's incensed. She's like a dog with a bone and won't let it go, which is right. Though she's not that open, and she's kind of, but what she's doing is great. Let her go, let her go. That's what I say. Okay. Jordan Maxwell, that's the guy. Yep. Yep. Deborah, yep. All these people are really great, and they do. So I'd love to get them into the cadre, and they are part of the cadre. Just, if we could, once we get things rolling, all these people will want to, they go to all these conferences. Well, this is going to be like a rolling conference, and we're going to be rolling into people's towns, not just going to, preach to the choir. We're going to go to all our relations. Because the only way we can change this is to go and bring all of this love to all our creations. And in the end, we will be bringing Lucifer back home into the fold. Okay. So here it is, 17. This is time to do it. Okay, everybody get comfy. If you're going to bed, get in your bed, put your jammies on, and put your head on that pillow. Everyone get into a safe position. And, okay, let's see. At 18:18, we will start. See you in the soup, buddy. Stone soup. Yep. And so everyone's comfy, everyone's safe. Okay. Start breathing. 20% in, and not 30% out. I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as we do, your conscious mind is going to go deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation. See it clearly. And 1, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of conscious relaxation. Your little card catalog where the squirrel runs around in the cage and your monkey bounces off your skull, thinking about all those things that don't matter. It's now relaxed. The squirrel's going to sleep. Your monkey's lying down. Your conscious mind is totally relaxed and totally focused on your breath. Breathing in that 20%, and breathing out that 30%. See it clearly. And one, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. And as you breathe in that 20%, all of your lungs open up. All of those little areola are absorbing the prana from your breath. And prana is all around us. It's the energy. Back in the day, they used to call it ether. In the 19th century, they called it vacuum. Today, they call it dark matter. But that is where the energy of love's co-creation is. And that's what the prana is. You're breathing it in, and it's energetic, highly energetic, right? It's scalar in this dimension. And as you breathe it in, your blood pushes through, your heart pushes the blood, highly energized, iron-rich blood goes through your lungs. The prana is energetically attracted to that iron. And as the blood is pumped through your veins, arteries, and capillaries, it swirls clockwise along against the wall of the vein, the artery, the capillary, and counterclockwise inside that swirl. And then inside that swirl, clockwise. So what is that? But a polyphase alternating current generator, and because it's being energized with prana, which is scalar, this is connecting you to your Akashic record. And you are illuminating your imaginary mirror right behind your eyelids, right where you have dream time, right where you have your dreams, where you have rapid eye movement, right? And your illumination of your imaginary mirror is not with the light of Lucifer, let there be light, but with the photonic energy of the darkness that brings out the resonance of every frequency of every color. Put all those resonances together, you get black, you get darkness. And that's where and what love's co-creation is, right? See it clearly. And one, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. And you have illuminated your imaginary mirror with the scalar energy of your current being created by your avatar. And that current is being transmitted through your mitochondria. Okay? And it's energizing every cell. And this is why the hidden hand, this is why Lucifer's gang, the hidden hand, and the powers that shouldn't be, and the sock puppets all want to enslave humanity, is because this energeticness is, we're the only ones who do this, right? And that's why we have been placed in this unconscious state, because all of the other creatures, the archons and the angels and all the hierarchy, they were, in this hierarchy with love's co-creation. And then we were created, and, all those folks who had been there from ever going, why, what? These they don't exist, and love co-creates with them. What, that's why Lucifer got, because he was numero uno, and he was like just kind of pushed off to the side. He was pissed, and what Lucifer had, he had an ego. he didn't have a soul. He had an ego, which he thought made him better than anybody. And how could this, you know, you know, little cockroach be better than him? And that's what got him pissed. That's what, you know, rumble in the jungle. So that's what the Big Bang was. And that's why he was ejected like lightning bolt. And that's how we got this little bubble of, illusion, right? But there's no better good because love co-creation said, fine, if this consciousness, who's the only that has the free will, wants to go down and play in that sandbox, no problem. Because, there is no time. We experience this linear thing in the bubble, but there is no time. It's infinite. So that's where we're at, right? And we're in a deep, 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 deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally relaxed. All the distraction of your avatar is asleep, relaxed, right? And you're in your imaginary mirror, and you're taking that photonic light and shining it into your subconscious. Subconscious is not a scary place. It is a library of your Akashic record. And you go walking in, and there's the library, and there's all the books. There's the fireplace in front of you. There is, the reading table and your reading chair and the photonic light coming down that has no shadows whatsoever. And to your left is your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel. The librarian places your Akashic record on your reading table. You open it up, 2 blank pages, put your right hand on the right page, left hand on the left page, and you lean into your Akashic record, and you eliminate, you take out of your consciousness all the anger, all the fear, all of the self-loathing, all of the avarice, everything, right? Cheating, lying, stealing, it's all out of you. Close the book, boom. Now you feel light as a feather, just feel really good, and you will go back and look at that anger and fear, right? But for now, we're going to take a little journey into the pyramid structure of the business plan of the illusion of the material world. And you will find that Lucifer is the number one businessman, right? He is the corporate head. He's the CEO, the chairman of the board, right? And so I want you to visualize that character, whenever I see the devil, I see him in many forms. But one of them is Frank Sinatra, right? Because he was the chairman of the board, right? And he was a little nebbishy, what? How could that guy be so freaking popular? So, what? But he was, so he definitely made a deal with the devil. And pretty much everybody who gets on the gravy train of the Hollywood makes a deal with the devil. So that's one of my visions of Lucifer, right? So there you are. You're kind of gotten up from your reading table, and out comes from the fireplace, just like all the other avatars, Jesus, Saint Germain, the old crone, the tea maiden, who else? A few others. But tonight, who's coming down the chimney? It's going to be whoever you see as Lucifer. The other person who I often see as Lucifer is the Coca-Cola Santa Claus. Just like the boys in Ghostbusters saw the Marshmallow Boy, right? So whatever little character that pops out of your subconscious or your id, but we're not going that way. So the smoke fills up the library right in front of the fireplace of the eternal flame, and down the chimney comes Lucifer. See it clearly. And because Lucifer is coming into your library and your, guides are right there, you are safer than safe. And the only way he, it, she, whatever, could enter your library, come down that chimney, because there is a, protective mechanism there, was with the understanding that Lucifer is going to take you into the corporate headquarters of the illusionary world that we called materialism. And it is known within the hierarchy as hell. This is hell, right? But everybody who's not us, the cadre, all our relations, because we have a higher, a consciousness as a soul that has a free will. That is a protection that you can bank on that. That is a dimensionary protective shield. You can make stupid mistakes, just like I did going down the road and getting a speeding ticket. But it was made up because I opened myself for, okay, this happened. I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm going to see what better good I can get out of it, right? So it's all smoky up, and then the flame flames up, and out comes Lucifer. See it clearly. Thank you, Jane. Hey, Fletch. And all my relations, I love you dearly. And our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as it was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without end. And in every day and every way, let us take the peace of love's co-creation and make it stronger. And especially at this time, for we are going into Lucifer's corporate headquarters. He's going to be our guide. He's going to be our ascended master who will protect us and show us everything. Nothing's held back. We will see everything. Now, we're going to see a lot of stuff. And we may not remember everything clearly, but it is going to be telegenically put into our Akashic record. And you can go there and see every square inch of everything we're going to see. So each one of you, take a hold of Satan's hand. And by doing this, you are not signing any contract. You are not giving up your soul. You are not letting go of your free will. You're going there, and Satan's going to be your guide through his corporate headquarters. He's going to show you every safe, every file cabinet, every secret document, every deal made that brought forth what we are experiencing today, this minute. Got it? Okay. And if any of you somehow feel this is inappropriate, you can't do it, not a problem. What you do is go back to your reading table, sit down, open up your Akashic record, and you can get it from the TV. And if all 14 of you want to do this, not a problem. But you're protected. Love's co-creation is all around you. You have to realize that Satan loves co-creation as much as you do, probably more than anybody. It just feels pissed, right? And by us doing this, we are making the opening to bring Lucifer back home, right? To break down this, you know, non-linear, eternal, non-eternal, linear experience of the bubble of the illusion, right? Okay. So, two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. You're in a safe place. If I need to come back, all I do is snap my fingers and be right back here. If you want to stay seated at your reading table with your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel right at your side, not a problem. You can watch everything on your Akashic record, right on the major screen. You got the 28 things, right? And I'd say, if all 14 of you or everybody else who's not even on the chat wants to just sit this one out in your reading table and watch it, and all the info is going in your Akashic record, so you're going to be able to get to it at your convenience, you know. But those brave souls who like the amusement ride, you know, like the tilt-a-wheel, as Blue said, you know, you're totally fine. I'm right there with you, you know. Balls to the wall. Okay, I'm just, you know, I'm your Sensei El Bob. You know, I love you, and I'm totally open to whatever you guys want to do. This is a consensus thing. So balls to the wall, you know, and you don't all have to do it. Somebody, you know, and don't feel bad, you know, because our relations, we're all there. Even if you're sitting at the table looking on the screen, you're still there, right? But again, there's Lucifer. See him as you see him. Go up to them and bow your head in respect, right? And thank Lucifer for taking you on this tour, right? And protecting you and honoring the agreement that I've made with that side to protect you and not take advantage of you and show you everything. Because the hidden hand, you know, the powers that shouldn't be, and the sock puppets, they know you know, they are like, you know, we are leaving the Piscean age. We've already pulled out of the station of the Piscean age, and we are already in the Aquarian age. It's just we haven't totally pulled into the station, and they know. You know, they're trying all this crazy stuff of like end of time, blah blah blah, aliens are raiding. No, you know, no, the bank's gonna, you know, dollar, blah blah blah. No, sorry, these are all illusions, gang. Right? Don't have to worry about that, and they know this. So they are really, 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 really looking for any way to just hang on by their fingernails. Okay? So it's all good. It's all wired in. We're all good to go. Okay. Like I said, I'm not asking anybody to do anything they can't do. And it's not just, you know, it's semantics. You want to sit at the chair and just, you know, watch it and get the info, not a problem. If all of you want to do that, not a problem. Any of you, and again, you're not selling your soul. You're not, you know, doing anything. You're not signing a contract. You know, this, you know, your guides and I are being the intermediary with this. You know, love's co-creation is holding the bank on this. You know, so you have more than enough protection, more than enough, you know, this. And all of you folks who are going balls to the wall is, you know, showing that you're ready to serve, to fix things, make it different, bust this bubble, you know, and make that thing that everyone, not a new world order, no, sorry, because it's the new world order is just going to be the same world order. It's love's co-creation, total, you know, and that world is already there. It doesn't have to be rebuilt or a new one. It's already there. Love's co-creation has been there since ever, always. And there is no grumpy old man. There is no you're born into sin. There is none of that, right? Okay, understandable. Okay, I'm just making it real clear. You know me, your Sensei El Bob. I'm real specific on the words and everything, right? So, and plus everybody has to be comfortable. We've got to, go. And I'm going to be there with you. You're not going to be there all alone with Lucifer. No, you're going to be there with your guides. You walk through that door. Me, Saint Germain, Old Crone, your guides, Love's Co-Creation, all right there. It's going to be, a nice little group, not just you and Lucifer. But it's Lucifer's office building, so and he's going to show us every little bit, right? Okay, so we're good to go. It didn't take us too long to get there. We're at that door, and we all, not just Lucifer, we all put our hand on the door and push it in. And there is this shining, not a bubble, but it's like we're in water, right? And the thing that shields, our avatar is made out of water, and, when you go out into space in those little tin cans, and there's the, Van Allen belt and all these other radiation belts, forget lead. All you need to do is get into a sleeping bag of water. Since it's hydrogen, it'll protect you from every wave there is. So you're in this sphere, this blue sphere up here of water, of sanctified water, of love's co-creation. And that sanctified sphere of water is love's co-creation. So we're going into the belly of the beast, the corporate headquarters of Lucifer, surrounded by love's co-creation. And this is what I'm talking about. We are injecting this into the DNA of this illusion. We're the cadre that's breaking this bubble. But before we can do that, we can't do it with violence. Someone asked this morning, can't we protect ourselves? Can't we kill people who want to kill us? No, can't do that. Sorry. And go back and see in the morning chat about what I said about that, about violence. So you are totally surrounded, all around you. Love's co-creation is all around you. Your cadre is with you. Your guides are with you. Saint Germain's with you. The Old Crone's with you. Jesus Christ is with you. All the other avatars of love's co-creation, right there. And we're walking, in. So we're walking, there we are on the avenue of Babylon, and everyone's so dressed to the teeth and looks so nice, and all the cars, they're just, the best of everything, the richest of the rich. But it just doesn't smell right. Some kind of smell. I don't know what it is. Not bad, not good, but it's just don't smell right, right? Anyway, there we are. 666 Babylon, right? We walk up to those gleaming glass doors, we walk through them, they kind of part for us like the Red Sea, and we walk in, and the lobby goes as high as you could see, and it's all this white, gleaming light, and it's all crystals and shining like diamonds and gold, and it's all bright white. And everyone's wearing bright white outfits and suits and dresses and turtlenecks, and everything is white. When you look at the folk walking in to and fro and going the elevators through the golden crystal white elevator doors, and the walls are white crystal gleaming. But when you look around, the people are they're not translucent, but they're almost invisible. And yes, you can see their hands and their faces. And they throw a shadow down on the white floor. And it's not black. It's not dark. It's a shadow. It's a grayness. It's a lack of life. It's a lack of love. But they look so, so rich and popular, and boy, they're so cut, and their faces are so beautiful, but their shadow has not there is no life there. None. They're animated. They're self-aware. They've definitely got an ego, but there's no love there. And you feel that there's no empathy there because you can't feel anything here. The only thing you're feeling is everyone who's in the party, right? Jesus, love's co-creation, everyone who's in the sphere of water that's protecting you from that energetic of the satanic office building, of the satanic world, of the home office, of hell. You're in hell. It looks great. There, you don't smell any sulfur or feel any flames. Actually, it's kind of cold. It's kind of, gray. And that smell that just doesn't smell right. It's not sulfury. It's not shit. It's not, it just doesn't smell right. Anyway, so we go in. And we don't even go into the elevators. We just kind of go in and we walk through a wall, right? One of those gleaming, marble, gold, shining, white light walls right through, right? And our sphere of water leaves a hole in that wall, and it doesn't come back, right? And people are going down hallways, and they're going through walls, but they just disappear. No, we just, we're like coring a path through hell, right? And so we go into a large cave. And we cave and office building, but cave, ancient cave. Ancient cave. And no longer are people, just glimmering gold and white. No, they're kind of looking a little shabby, a little scaly, a little gray, a little cryptic, a little everything, right? And so we're just rolling along in our sphere of love's co-creation. And there's this hill. It's kind of rocky hill, and we just kind of roll down that hill. And as the sphere, whatever little jagged points are just got totally, smoothed out, in the shape of our sphere. And we come down into this plane, and it's a plane of fire, Whereas in your superconscious mind, you have a meadow of grass that is just loving you. This is a plane of fire. And it's you can walk on it, You're surrounded by the sphere of love's co-creation, so you're not feeling any heat or, but there's flames. And there are a lot of people who are looking pretty shabby who, don't look too happy. They're kind of, smoldering on the edges, and they're pretty crisp. If you were like to go like this, they would kind of turn into toast. Mm-hmm. So we go into that, and we roll through this, and there are all these minions doing all these things, that are like at workstations, and they're doing all these things, making movies and toys, and in doing all these things, manifesting in the world that we called reality, illusions, right? Things that are somewhat sticky to your consciousness, that can stick you, can get you stuck in that circle of karma over and over and over and over, right? But we're rolling right through them, and then any of these guys kind of walk in front of the sphere of love's co-creation, is going to roll right over them, right? And they're kind of flattened, but they're facing, they're still like stuck doing their job, but now they're like, flattened. And we come up to this wall, a big, big, big rocky wall, right? And it looks like looks like Trump Tower, actually. It looks just like that. Look at that. It looks like Trump Tower in New York City, but it says Lucifer on it, right? And we roll into the lobby, and there are all these monkeys in bellboy suits, and right, and they rushing around, and because Lucifer is the boss, they're like kissing butt. And we are taken here. We do get on a big elevator that the sphere kind of just rolls right into, and we, it's not like an elevator. It's just this space that the sphere of love's co-creation goes into, and we go up, right? And as we are going up, it's got glass walls, and we realize that the building that we thought was Trump Tower was actually a pyramid. And all those little monkeys were the basically worker drones, right? The lowest class of the worker drones. Because as we go up, there are different floors, all these different floors. And each class, as you go up, so at the lobby, it's, outside, it was this kind of really sketchy kind of place. And those guys out there who were kind of like toast, really crispy, were part of all our relations who had been so dragged into the reincarnation wheel and the going the avarice way of being mean and cruel and violent and everything diluted. They were the crispy ones, and they weren't part of the hierarchy, They were just toasted, folks. But they still had their free will. They could get out of there if they wanted to, but they're pretty sucked in. They're pretty stuck to that illusion, right? So, we're going up in this elevator. It's more like our sphere is floating up, and we're going through the hierarchy. So first there were the people outside of the pyramid, right? And before we went in, before we were going up, and before we could get that perspective of the pyramid shape, it was Trump Tower. But instead of saying Trump up there, when we looked at it, it almost looked like it said Trump, and then it said Lucifer. And so we were going up, and so the worker drones, and there are different shades of them, So the ones that were monkeys were like brown. They got, they're brown, and their little, suits are brown. And as they go up in that worker drone, they are monkeys, and then grays, and then insects, not insectoids, but insects, and they were still humanoid, legs and thorax and head, arms, fingers. They all had, some had 3 fingers, some had 5, some had 10, 12, some had tentacles, some had tentacles with eyeballs on them. And we're going up, 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 and we get to the top part of the worker drones, and those folk are pretty human, but if you catch them just out of your, you know, peripheral vision, they are demonic. They're demons. And they can be scary. But again, if you visualize them, just scratches on the film strip, none of this is scary. Because you see, it's the delusion of a very upset child. Right? No matter how, corporate or grown up or sophisticated or slick that Lucifer is trying to be, he is still that sad, pissed off child, whose ego has gotten the better of him, who's in a tantrum, in the tantrum so severe that he broke the hierarchy of love's co-creation, created a war amongst the angels, and was cast down beyond the speed of light and broke a chunk, 0.0095 chunk of love's co-creation's dark matter, and made this bubble of illusion, of linear time, of a universe that's, some 6 to 20 billion years old within the frame reference of the alpha omega of linear time. So, and as you're going up, this is also an elevation of your consciousness, an ascension. But you're in this, you're getting this ascension, not in love's co-creation, but in the illusion of Lucifer. But you're in the sphere of love's co-creation. So if you weren't, you could get stuck, you could have a hard time, but you're seeing protection of love's co-creation, of unconditional love and forgiveness. So you're not getting stuck to anything, but you're seeing what you could get stuck to. So you're getting a 411 of your consciousness's ability to ascend through and into love's co-creation without having to be restricted, separated, incarcerated by Lucifer's illusion. See it clearly. So we're now going up through the next class of the management class. And these folks are reptiles, are insectoids, are many other things which you can see. And I am not going to give them a classification because that would restrain your free will to seeing clearly. See clearly. Do not, you can't go unconscious in the sphere of love's co-creation, right? And you can't not see the things you're seeing, right? Even though like in the peripheral vision, scare you? No. But you're totally protected, Your Sensei Al Bob's here with you. Your guides are here, your librarian, and your librarian's kind of taking notes, And so is your animal totem, because your animal totem's going to tell you stories about this to give you perspective, right? And your angel has got the wings out, the sword or spear or shield, whatever tool your angel uses, and is luminescent. This is the first time you have seen your guardian angel like on guard. Your angel's energy is around you. You're wearing it like a suit. Your angel is not just covering your back. Your angel is covering you totally, 360. And it's all our relations. The knowledge is coming from all our relations. The energy of protection is our cadre in co-creation with love. And the knowledge is going into your Akashic record. I'm just your Sensei Al Bob, pointing the way, keeping your eye on the ball, right? I'm your, when we get the circus together, I'm just going to be Grandpa Smurf, right? And I got to do this. This is my job. And I finally, stepped up because I'm getting a little tired, I was like, had the vim and vigor of a 20-year-old when I was 50, but now pushing 70 and dying all those times and things a little busted up, I got to step up 100%, right? So that's why I'm here, right? And then I'll be able to go home and relax at least a little bit. And I'll be able to see every single one of you when you go into your superconscious mind. I'll be there. I'll be on a nice, lazy boy with a umbrella and a nice little mint julep or whatever, or in my swimming trunks in the lake of the Great Lake, right? So I'm happy to be here, gang. I love you all. And this little reaffirmation makes the sphere of love's co-creation even stronger. And Satan is not trying to do any mischiefy tricks. Either is Lucifer. And everybody else, in our tour, not us in the sphere of love's co-creation, but everyone, we're kind of rolling over, going through and observing them. Most of them can't even see us, right? And they're so ass-licking to Lucifer that, they just get out of the way. They're not putting up any... So, we're seeing this class of managers, right? And we're seeing, and I want you to see it through your, Akashic record and through your own eyes and within your own consciousness what this all is. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment, and you're going to see all the different derivations of this class of managers. And so when you go out there, this is just I want you to visualize that movie, They Live. And Carpenter really had this down, right? That whole scene when they go into that office building, the TV station, da-da-da-da-da. Go watch that movie over again if you need to have a reinforcement of it. But that's really a good example of, and that city that they were in, and all the rich people, that's what, the demons kind of look like, right? But I'm just giving you, little things to... Okay, now I'm going to use my own consciousness and see it for myself through my own eyes, right? And then you can take it back to your Akashic record, because there's your librarian putting it all in the Akashic record for you as you're taking notes, and your animal totem is taking it down. So see it clearly. And so I'm going to be quiet, and you are going to be 100% in your Akashic record and be on this little road trip, little class trip, okay? And 3, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind of your avatar is totally asleep. You have illuminated your consciousness, and you've gone into your subconscious, which is your Akashic record, and you have emptied all your fear and anger, and then you brought forth Lucifer, and you see him just as you want to see him, and you are going on a class trip with love's co-creation, Jesus Christ, the old crone, the tea maiden, me, your Sensei Al Bob, and your whole guides. Your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel. And you're in this sphere, not fear, but sphere of love's co-creation. And you're also there with your cadre, your clan. The all your relations who went through that doorway of it wasn't death, it's hell. And it's the other side of the door of the event horizon, because here in this world, the material world of illusion, this is hell. This is hell. And what that is heaven here is the natural form, right? And that natural form can only exist in this illusion is when your heart, your soul, your consciousness come together with love's co-creation and manifest that nature here. And when we come back, when we do that in every day and every way, that is what's going to build up the force that, when I snap the fingers, the bubble will pop. And we'll be able to bring Lucifer's sad little child home back to love's co-creation, and we will go back and be ready to exist in that world that you came from, right? See clearly. And again, this is just a sandbox. Even though it's hell, it's just a sandbox, And you can make it more and more like heaven by simply manifesting it such. See it clearly. So I'm going to be quiet now. And you guys are going to go on that little tour. That little tour of the Satan's office building, right? See it clearly. And 3, you're in a deep state of conscious relaxation. Your avatar is totally at rest. Your avatar is totally under remote control of your autonomic nervous system. And you are on a class trip into Satan's office building, the pyramid. And you have traveled up from outside, the city of Satan, Babylon. You've walked through it and you've seen, because you can see what really is. If you were on the outside of the sphere of love's co-creation, it would look like a beautiful, gleaming, sparkling city, just like the lobby of the office building, right? That looked like Trump's tower, but it wasn't. It was a pyramid. And it was on 666 Babylon Avenue. And you went into the lobby and you saw all these glowing, beautiful white people, but they're shadows from the light, because that light wasn't photonic. It was just luminescent. Shone shadows. And on the floor, there were shadows everywhere. And they weren't, light and dark shadows. They were this luminescent, Luciferian luminescence and grayness. And the best I can put forth is when chemtrails get sprayed overhead and you see all the lines, and then the upper atmosphere blows all that particulate into a kind of gray, silvery, blue haze. That's what that shadow looked like, right? The gray, luminescent blue haze of the transhuman, because that's what these creatures are. They're transhuman. See it clearly. And you elevated yourself up through the office building of Hell's Pyramid. Outside were the expendables, the refuse of all our relations who have gotten so stuck to the illusion that they're like toast. Once we went in the building, the people in the lobby were also expendables, but they had deluded themselves so much that they no longer had a consciousness that had a soul. They never had one. And so they are just, rough building blocks. There was this TV show called Stargate. And one of the creatures that they bumped into were these things called replicators. And they were made out of little squares, and you could blow them apart and they would be just like little ice cubes all over the floor, and then they would come together and make something. And they had a generalistic insectoid characteristic, a hive mind. Individually, nothing. Together, they could eat you alive. And that's what these creatures in the lobby are like, replicas. Right? Then you went up, elevated through the different layers, right? The higher levels of the expendables, and then into the worker drones, and then into the manager class. And now we're getting off to the top and appearing into the capstone of the pyramid, and that is where the ownership class is, right? And the ownership class is really just the highest level of the manager class, meaning they aren't a demigod. But they've been around a long time, and they have been part of all the secret societies, all the governments, all of the materialist illusion that has been that Satan's three-card Monty. And as we step onto the floor of there is no levels of the ownership class. They're just there. But none of them are in human form. These creatures are almost indescribable. And as we step onto this floor, there are these two almost Roman columns, and they are a sculpture holding up the capstone. And one is of ant, and the other is turtle. And ant and turtle were the first two creatures that love's co-creation after Lucifer had the war and broke loose and created the Big Bang, went down there. And basically, in this place where our souls and consciousness were in, which was the Garden of Eden, it's not heaven. He went in there and, tricked us into the material bubble. And so, two of love's co-creation's oldest and dearest co-creators of love were ant and turtle. And they volunteered to come into the bubble of illusion and assist us from being just lost. And over the millennia, the billions of years, they have not sacrificed, but offered a good deal of their spiritual freedom to go and be those columns that hold up the capstone. Because as long as they can do that, there is the opportunity for avatars to show up like Jesus, Buddha, Vishnu, and millions of others who have come in to do baby steps for our consciousness, to move forward, to rise and ascend into our consciousness of being an avatar of ourselves. Once we come into we're an avatar. And, again, avatar doesn't mean you're anything but who you are, really. And you can't, when you're an avatar, you're like Buddha says, I'm awake. Are you a god? No. What are you? I'm awake. Your avatar, you're awake. Me, I'm your Sensei Al-Bab. 10, 20% of the time, I'm just a moron, And that's okay because, see, being a moron, you have to be a living, loving, lucky bastard moron, idiot. And when you're one of those, they say, God protects angels and idiots and little children. And that's me. And that's why I'm your Sensei Al-Bab. And so, you're walking into the boardroom, and there they all sitting around the boardroom, and Lucifer goes up, and he's on a throne, right? And you're, right by the front door of the boardroom. And they can't see you, but you can see them. And not only can you see them, you can see into their Akashic records. And their Akashic record isn't like yours, that big book that you can do all this fancy dancy stuff with. No. And it's not even, see, they don't even have an Akashic record because they don't have a soul or a consciousness. They have an awareness. They're self-aware. They got an ego. But they don't have that higher sensibility. What they have is a card catalog in their head, right? And they got all those tricks on those cards, right? All those illusions, all those contracts, all those wars and catastrophes and suffering, and that's what they live on. They're energetic. That's why they torment the human race, in the our avatar, because our avatar, the human race, is still connected to your soul, still connected. Every time you breathe 20% and elevate yourself, the prana goes inside you, and you energize your mitochondria, and you ground yourself. That energy is what these clowns live for, right? And when you are scared, where you are in fear, when you are sad, when you are dejected, when you hate something or loathe something or want something with avarice, hormones, flush, you got all these different systems in your body. And this vagus nerve system, they tap right into it. That's kind of goes, why do vampires bite you in the neck right there at your jugular? Yeah, the blood is right there, but your vagus nerve is there. The blood spilling is, nourishment, like, drinking milk. But what they really get a charge off is the adrenaline of your fear, supercharging your vagus nerve, right? So seeing all this stuff, you're catching the picture, you're seeing what it is, seeing how way more complicated than just good, bad, evil, Bible, God. No, sorry. And that's why I'm taking you here. And you are protected like nobody's been protected. And when you come back, you're going to be glowing, from this point on, when you are in the illusion world, people are going to look at you. You're not quite Jesus. You're not quite Buddha. You're not quite Vishnu. But people go, boy, you're different. You got a different haircut. You lose weight. People are going to be saying that to you because this experience, this is, it took me, I don't know, 40 days to get you here. Put you in a space where you could actually experience this in your consciousness and then have it put down in a way in your Akashic record that you can go back to and get something out of it instead of, this is a nightmare. Oh, no, it's not. This is the real deal, gang. You're seeing it. And 3, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of conscious relaxation. There is no fear, no hate, no anxiety, nothing negative in you whatsoever. And you are in Lucifer's boardroom. And he's up on his throne, and, his board of directors, see all those insectoids, most of them, and they look like praying mantises or twig insects or something something you've never seen before, but kind of like that, right? And let yourself go, not into them, not because you can't connect to them through empathy. All your relations, dogs, birds, fish, ants, everything you can connect to through empathy, When you walk into that forest and you don't want to be stuck on the eye, you open up your third eye and put your empathy out to all your relations. That fox is not going to bite you. That limb is not going to go in your eye. The mound of ants aren't going to spill out and crawl up your pants because you're in empathy. Well, this place, there is no connectivity. The Wi-Fi is down. But because you're in this sphere of love's co-creation, you can see them, they can't see you. You can understand them. You can read their minds. Now, these minds are alien like you can't believe. I mean, there is no point of reference. But because you have this sphere as a lens to see through, just like when you look down into the roots of the tree of knowledge with your telescoping eye, through the lens of love's co-creation, you can see what's going on in these folks, and you can see where they came from. Because, being an extraterrestrial is like living in New Jersey. It's like no big deal to come to this planet from any dimension, because if you are in that Luciferian realm, hey, it's like just snap your fingers and you can go across, the universe, different, all these different planets. And this is all, it's like, Spock with his tricorder. Your Akashic record is taking up every bit of information that's in these guys' heads. You're seeing it. You're seeing it clearly. So 3, you're in the sphere of love's co-creation. You're totally protected. You're on a class trip with Jesus Christ, with the old crone, the tea maiden, your Sensei Al-Bab, your guides, your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel. And the rest of your cadre is there. See it clearly. You've experienced everything of Satan's office building, right? And you see that they really don't have a business plan. They don't have a end idea of what to do. That's why every empire that's controlled by these guys kind of crumbles, because without love's co-creation, you really can't build anything, can't make anything. You can, have a little tour de force, but you can't, and no matter how you destroy, love's co-creation comes back. I mean, look at Earth, look at the solar system. This has been one of, there are wars everywhere, but this is one of those places that, why everyone thought that this was the center of the universe. It's kind of like it is, because most creatures in this illusionary world, you know, they really don't have anything to play for. They just exist. They just consume. Pure chaos. Yep. And if you know anything about chaos theory, you throw the dice enough, it starts to come together. And so, but there is no, end plan, whereas within the context of love's co-creation, the end plan is the alpha and the omega. It's always creating, always making love, always creating art, beauty, intellect, not commerce, not consumption. Because there is no need for consumption, because, there is, within the context of love's co-creation, the existence is one of everything you need is right there, There's enough, there's everything for everybody. There is no weakness, there is no lacking, there is no separation, there is no other. We all are part of the great link. Within the construct of our individuality, we're all our relations. Our consciousness, our self-awareness is individualized. And through our free will, we collectively create with love's co-creation. And we have no sense of lack. We have no sense of separation. We have no sense of fear, because it doesn't exist. Because the only reality there is love. And so this harmonic of love's co-creation within the sphere is vibrating in a way that everyone in the boardroom is kind of, the glasses are clinking, the windows are shaking, and they don't understand this isn't what like hell normally is. Something's going on here outside the unknown. And Lucifer, up on elevated throne, he understands everything, and he basically says, "Don't worry about this. It's just like a little bit of bad weather. It'll be over in a minute or two, right? And we can go into some bloody sacrifice. We'll go on down to the U.S. Congress and have some bloody sacrifice. We'll kind of go into every and any political body and have some bloody sacrifice." Because those are the creatures, those politicians, those people who think they're in control. They're getting a little toasty on the edge, they're getting a little baked, and not in a good way. And 3. Oh, you feel amazing, You had a little trepidation when you were in your library, and, we were getting it together to go on the field trip with the class. And when Satan showed up, that was like, I don't know about this. And I got to hold his hand. Okay. And walking through that event horizon was, I don't know. Bang, then you were in there. And then the sphere tightened up around you, and all you could feel was love's total, unconditional love for you. All you could feel is that connectiveness with all your relations, and that unbelievable total love of love's co-creation. See it clearly. So you're turning around, And you don't have to go um, through everything, because as the sphere turns around and goes through the top capstone of the pyramid, you are flying overhead of Helm's City, Babylon, and you see this shimmering blue pinkness of the wall that goes from, you know, the whole horizon. And those folks who were going on about the flat Earth, this is the flat Earth. Satan's Babylonian hell through the eighth door. That is flat Earth. The environment of love's co-creation is the sphere that you're in, right? And our vision of the music of the spheres is love's co-creation. So when we think of our solar system and the planets, everything's in a sphere, not a bubble. Bubble is almost like a trapezoid. It's not round. It's got semi-rounded edges, but not really. It's kind of a amorphous. It's a bubble. It's not a sphere. And exactamente, buddy. That's those guys on JB's thing going on about the flat Earth. Those poor folks are stuck. Anyone who's stuck like that, they're turning into toast. They're not as flexible as you, bud, or any of the rest of the cadre. Anyway, that was someone trying to interrupt. You still there, guys? We all here? We all here? Didn't get knocked off, right? Yes. Yeah, okay, good. Well, then, buddy, flat, then you understand that I am, we've just gone on this little tour. So you're understanding that things are a little more complicated, sophisticated, and not quite what everyone thinks it is. Right? And but there is no right kind. It is kind of what it is. It's like, just as the name of this little series is, everywhere you go, there you are. Doesn't that fit into the flat Earth postulate? Come on, buddy. Okay. See, that's why we love Buddy. We love everyone in the cadre. Everyone has that little different point of view that makes us the cadre. If Buddy wasn't here, we'd be lacking. And the beauty of the cadre is we don't lack anything. We are not at a loss. We don't feel, there is no lack. Gotcha? Okay, I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and when I say 1 last, I'll snap my fingers and you'll be all back here. All back rested. And you will have a different worldview from this point on. And you're going to be going back to your Akashic record, just like people go back to their smartphones to see that YouTube, and you're going to be going back. Your Akashic record is so much better than any smartphone, So there is no limitation to your Akashic record. Deus Machina, buddy. Yep, that's right, 89. I like that. That is what Lucifer is the Deus Machina. The ghost in the machine. The devil in the machine, not the ghost. Ghost is with us, Okay, so 3. Conscious mind in your avatar, totally relaxed. Your body is rejuvenating through a flood of the prana going through your mitochondria. You are like having a good time there. Better than any butter or anything else you could imbibe. And now the bubble is going through that event horizon from Hell's city of Babylon in the Pyramid Office Building into your Akashic record. And then you step down from the bubble onto the firma of your Akashic record. Your guides go and take their place. Satan, Lucifer, the rest of the gang on the other side of the event horizon are over there, and they're not coming back, meaning Lucifer and et al. Have been locked out. This door is locked, and Love's co-creation has got the sphere now double insulated around your Akashic record and around your superconscious mind, your sanctuary of your own choosing, and in the tree of knowledge, that place where Satan, Lucifer, came up into the Garden of Eden. That door, that route is closed too. It is cemented over. And so, yes, Satan, Lucifer, the illusion material world that our avatar exists in is hell. You have to realize, is hell. Just like the city of Babylon looks so shiny, looks so new, except when you started to know how toasted all of those expendables were. All of our, all our relations who got stuck there. But we'll be able to get them back, along with Lucifer. We're taking him home. Yep, exactamon. '89. I love that concept. Lucifer Deus Machina, exactamon. I couldn't say it better. So 2, you're now all in your Akashic records in your library, and you're standing in front of your guides, and they're all crying. They've all had an experience that they've never had before. They've all shared with you in a way that they've never shared before. You have let them in, meaning every time you go into that, we've been going into your sanctuary of your own choosing, you've been that we travel through the tree of knowledge. You bring your guides with you and let them play, right? And they're like little puppy dogs. They haven't done that in ever, long time. So that made them really happy and made them even love you more because, until you became aware of them, they were getting a little bored, a little sad. You never did anything with them. But then, you're starting to go. You're now doing it on your own. They love it when you show up and that you took them on a class trip and you took them to a place that nobody really goes, and they got to use all of their talents to the max and really feel like they were part of you. They are you. They just love you so much. And you see the tears rolling down their cheeks and their smiles going ear to ear. And they break their decorum and come over and hug you, and you're crying. This is a great day. This is a special day. Remember this day. Step up. This is another baby step, right? So this is another baby step. And 2, you're walking out of your Akashic record into where your imaginary mirror is, and you feel just so good, so refreshed, so connected, and the veil has been lifted. You have seen things that now you're not troubled, you're not fearful. Now you're going to have to go back and really start reading your Akashic record. You're going to have to, your librarian and your other guys will sit down around the table and you guys can parse it out. And in this world, in the illusionary material world, you've got the cadre here. You've got your little internet connects, and you guys can start. We have to develop an alternative aesthetic. That's why I brought you there on a class trip. Because you've got the 411 now. You can see what I'm talking about. We have to redefine things so people will not get stuck. Now, you've seen things that really not too many people see. Don't forget them. Isn't that amazing? What Buddy just said? Fell once, I almost let the circle break, but he didn't. In his past life, he would have, but he didn't. And he asked all of us to remind that love is the answer. When Buddy first showed up, that was not part of his lexicon. That was some field trip. And two, you feel pretty amazing, right? And you're not going to you love this feeling. You love this connectivity. You love this brotherhood, sisterhood, cadrehood. And you love the understanding of the connection to all our relations. And you now and always will be connected to, consciously with, love's co-creation. See it clearly. And I, your Sensei Bob, couldn't be happier. Everyone gets an A+ with a star. And one, you're coming back into your avatar, you're feeling better. Oh, yes, this is good. You're ready to do whatever you're ready to do. Transparent, I saw somebody become opaque, was dingy. They came with, and one. We're going to have a nice little chat here. And you guys are going to express yourselves as deep as you want. We got as much time. And one, you're back here now. So that was pretty amazing, gang. Like I said, you all get an A with a star, 3 stars, and a couple emojis. Like I said, we made an effect on the other side. We're that little pebble in the pond. We are bringing forth the tsunami of love. And that's why all these folks are going, oh, the world is ending. Come on. Sorry, not going to happen. And even some asteroid hits us, the poles, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because we'll be right back here doing it again. And we know who we are. The cadre is not going nowhere, What we have to do is those doom and gloomers, we can't convict, they got their belief. So that's why we need to develop this whole new way of dealing with folk, the alternative aesthetic. And it won't be set in a book. That alternative aesthetic is that of the cadre. And that means that aesthetic's going to be as diverse as all of us, right? Because we're all adding our lexicon into this new aesthetic. And I would suggest go Google, go to the library, go to the Akashic Record, and look up the Bauhaus. And that whole very interesting period of thought and aesthetics between 1870 and 1925, because that's when the whole existential movement, the whole, I mean, again, alternative aesthetics was, and because in theology, philosophy, Thomas Merton, a whole bunch of people. So put your thinking caps on, go peruse the internet and whatever books you have on your shelves or the library or your friends. And this is how we're going to coalesce this alternative aesthetic. And that's the first thing we have to have before we start to write all of the stuff we're going to write about the, Humanities Artist Trust, because we have to build the frame for that to plug into the corporate, oh, we're going to be a 501c3 nonprofit, right? International, right? We're going to go through the UN and start an NGO, that kind of frame, right? And in that frame, we're going to have this thing called the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies, right? Again, all of those things have to be framed from our alternative aesthetic, right? And we're going to have these things that we're going to take around like a school, and one of them is going to be the traveling video art circus. They love things like that. They just, I mean, look what they're doing with the media. They're just going to love this thing. This is going to be like cotton candy to all those guys in the ownership pyramid. We saw them. They did not see us. They know we are here. They definitely know they're here because, Lucifer came down that chimney and took us through that, event horizon and brought us freely on his will, not ours. Our will was strong into saying, hey, we're coming into your house. We're doing it with respect, but we're coming into your house because we don't serve you. We love you. And we love you through love's co-creation. We don't idolize you. We don't praise you. But we love you. See, this is a bit of a change from any kind of, nomenclature or, religious, spiritual, political dogma that I think you've ever seen before, guys. And you are the cadre of this. You are putting in the nomenclature. All these tweets are going into the Akashic record of this alternative aesthetic we're building here. Okay, that's good enough, It's all in your 89. It's all in your Akashic record, right? And what's great about the Akashic record, you are not emotionally connected. You're like, okay. Your vagus nerve is not going to be affected by this, but your consciousness is going to be 190 million% there. And you've got your guides, you got me, you got love's co-creation, right? Unstoppable. And you got the fireplace to bring in any avatar you want. Jesus, Buddha, Vishnu, anybody else. There's a big line of avatars who will, come and help. And go to the Tree of Knowledge and go down there into Shambhala. There's a ton of people there. I mean, all of those great intellects that were writing, all those great philosophic, scientific things, all through the ages, from the Alpha to the Omega, from our past and into our future. You can go talk to the intellects of the future. And this is how we're going to build this and then take it into this world of our avatar that we are all here right now, right? We're in this material right now, right? So this was a good day. This was a market day. This is like A+ with a star. I am a happy camper. Oh. Exactamundi, buddy. I took the giant reptile's hand and I actually wept with sorrow for it. Then it was twice as tall as it, and he turned into a little boy, which I showed love to. Exactly. That reptile was a little boy, just like Lucifer was a little boy. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're doing it. That's the truth. Well, 89, you got some time under your belt. You should be able to drive your Akashic record like a Ferrari, right? Space Ghost. Uh, where do you think they got the idea of Space Ghost? Rocking good news. Man, I love all you guys. Well, again, guys, so if you have the awareness of having a lucid dream, that meant you had one. Go into your Akashic record. It's all in there, right? The other thing, so if you need, people go, oh, you need to write your dreams down. Well, you can't. It's a different part of the card catalog. What you can do, so before you go to bed, do that 20% in, 40% out. And like I said, you're going into a meditative state, you've got this fork in the road. You can either go off into your Akashic record or you can just go to sleep. So as you're doing that, you tell yourself, I'm going to remember my lucid dream. I'm going to remember it. And the first thing I'm going to do is when I'm remembering, before I wake up, I'm going to put it in my Akashic record, on a page that I'm going to bend over there, right? Or stick a napkin in or whatever. But I'm going to be able to go to it. You don't even have to do that. All you have to do is say, I want to see that, That's the beauty of your Akashic record. You really don't have to write. I mean, you can write in the book, but and you can find anything you want by just thinking about it, and bingo, there it is. I mean, the little metaphors were just that. Whatever, remember. But all you got to do is say, hey, I want to look at that, and there it is. So those lucid dreams, or all your dreams for that matter, are in your Akashic record, right? But if you want a physical representation within the context of the illusionary world of your avatar, this is what you do. So you have your phone nearby, and basically don't have it close enough that, the waves, just you don't have to get out of bed, it's by over there. And you don't, if you can turn it off so it doesn't ring, doesn't notify you, doesn't, wake you up. And the other thing you might be able to do is make this is a very interesting thing. This is a little science project for you guys. There's a thing called a Faraday cage. And basically what it is, it's a copper little cage. And then there's a dielectric, another material like cardboard, paper, cotton, wool. And then another cage, right, around it. And that one, you put a wire and have it long enough and put a little alligator clip on it. And if you have any kind of plumbing that's metal, that would be grounded. Like if you had a radiator, just do that. Then that thing's definitely grounded. Then your cell phone, that energy that's in your cell phone, even when you turn off, it still has energy emitting from it, is totally shielded. It won't affect your consciousness, right? But it can be right there. So, however you do it, put it in a way that it's not going to wake you up, not going to affect you. You can actually visualize the Faraday cage, and it'll work too. But these are all little science projects and little homework assignments that I'm giving you, because man, if you can, you know, shield yourself from your cell phone just by using your Akashic record, your higher consciousness, and you're getting there. So you tell yourself, I want to remember that lucid dream. I'm going to put it in my Akashic record. But if you want a physical representation of what you do before you get out of, before your feet hit the ground, and wow, that was a weird dream. What was that about? You grab your cell phone, hit the record button, and go, wow, I just had a dream about blah, 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 blah. Now it's on your phone, which you can then listen to at your own leisure. You can play it, stop it, go back, this way, that way. And that's the beauty of this little device. It does a lot of great things like that. Yes, it sucks your brain out, but it does these other things. So now that dream is there, and you can listen to it 100 times, stop it, go back and forth. Then you get yourself, just like I have my composition books, you get your little book and that you write ideas in, and you play it. And you write it down in your book. And you took notes in school not to remember, but to understand. Freud called it Gestalt, lightning understanding. So you hear something, you write it down, you go, oh, that's what that means. So you take that dream, put it on your phone, play it back, write it down, and you go, wow, that's what it means. Then you write, that's what that means. And you will become the most well-adjusted person. You won't even need a shrink. Because the best shrink you can have is your Akashic record. Let's see. Okay. Subway story? Uh-huh. Okay. One day I'll tell you the subway story. But not tonight. We're just finishing up here. Yeah, Saturn's kind of a fun place. And Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is basically a metaphor for all of this. He was a historian. He was a political science guy. He was a shrink. He was like me. He was a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropo. And he would write all these scholarly things, and people just laughed at him. So he said, screw this. I'm just going to write it as a novel and see if I can make some money. So why do you think I wrote 26 novels? Again, go read my one novel up on xratted.blogspot.com. And any of you guys who want to be editors or writers or co-creators with me, because I got a ton of stuff, right? Like I said, 26 novels, 100 or 200 short stories, 800 theses. I got a lot of stuff. And it's all on thumb drives. Just plug it in and edit it away and put it up on that thing. I just need help. It's kind of hard to do this stuff when you're a homeless guy, when you have no idea where you're going to sleep next night, where you're going to get your next meal, whether your car's going to break down. I don't even worry about that, but it just makes things, you get a, traffic ticket, you got to go to court in a month and pay them $300 or, again, that's what life is about, and it keeps me, it basically constantly offers me up strawberry sundaes. Well, the notion of the Akashic record, it is ancient. It's as old as Lucifer's fall. It comes from back in the day of ant and turtle. Okay, there you go. Tomorrow's, we're going to go talk to turtle and ant, and they will give you the 411 from their perspective of being, love's co-creation's representative from day one of the Big Bang to today of linear time. And they're going to tell you a good story about sacrifice, service, and really it's the most amazing thing. I mean, they have been all through my life, my greatest of teachers. And they are who they are. I have other great teachers in other ways that they are, but they are pretty amazing. So you're gonna meet those guys Just like you met the old crone, and within those columns, there is their whole other, you know, like home. That is like the old crone's farm. So when we go visit them, we can't, you know, Lucifer's Babylon is cut off from your Akashic record and from your superconscious mind, right? Not gonna, that's it. But Ant and Turtle, we can go visit their, and that's why their sanity is because they were allowed to keep their, superconscious mind and their sanctuary of their own choosing. So we'll go to their sanctuary, just like you can travel to everybody else's sanctuary, right? You do it through your, you go to the cadres, everybody else's sanctuary through their blankie. These other realms, we go through the tree of knowledge. And the tree of knowledge is, again, another protective mechanisms. We can go in and come back, but nobody can go into your sanctuary through the tree of knowledge. So there are a lot of safeguards, and they're double, triple, quadruple backups. Right, no fear, not at all. Exactly. You got it, bud. Bioetheric, biologic resonant fields of, wait for it, love's co-creation of ethical existence. Well, Dragon, if you have recordings of your dreams, that's good. Play them back and write them in a book. You'll get some really interesting results. Well, you can do that. Anything's possible in the dynamics of love's co-creation. So, fish, you can go for it any which way you want. That's the beauty of this. There is no control. There is no dogma. And there's no chaos. That's the beauty of this. This is a win-win scenario here. About Jacob Rowling's and Harry Potter books. Well, what happened? She's what can I say? A special case. So the story behind her. She's living in England. She's on the dole. She's got kids. She can't make the rent. Can't do this. Things are getting cut off, and she's got an idea. And all she's got is her little laptop, and she goes into some tea room, and she starts writing. And it was like autonomic writing. She just started, bing, and the first book came straight out. She went onto Fleet Street, walked into some publisher house and said, here's my thumb drive. Take a look at this. The guy said, okay. And he just kind of read it and read it and read it and said, wow, yes, okay, let's get a contract here. And that's how it was. So she autonomically wrote those books, right? And she really tapped into the Akashic record, And I mean, pretty much, everything that's in Harry Potter is a lot like her Akashic record, a lot like this, a lot like that, because it is kind of like what it is. So she really kind of, and I don't know whether she understood those processes. I don't know if she had somebody like me, her sensei El Bob, pointing her the way. But I do know through other sources of mine, that was autonomic writing, straight up. Very similar to Alice Bailey, right? But Alice Bailey she wrote true thought of love's co-creation. And without any guide or any vehicle to give it a juxtaposition to the reader, it was like, whoa. So, JR, she did have that. She put it into a context so people could be really interested and really. And so, a lot of people said, oh, she's satanic, blah, blah, blah. No, I think she is one of those oracles that, like the oracles of Delphi, just came out with a thing that could hit the general public to give them a gestalt, that lightning understanding. Now, it gave them a refresher, like something, in the card catalog was going and their, vagus nerve was popping and the little mitochondria was going. And I think if it had anything to do with satanic control, what it was because Satan wants to be loved. He was like, Buddy was talking about the reptile turned a little boy. That's Satan, And so whatever motivated, in the more etheric and esoteric and occult realms, J.R. wrote that stuff. And the thing about it is it doesn't feel to me as something that was stuck. Meaning she did not, when I look at her, and I've never met her personally, so I can't, all I can do is read her books, and so etherical I can get, energetically a sense of her. And I've seen her on TV being interviewed, and so I can energetically get a sense of her. But, cold readings I can't really do unless I'm right in front of you, I can do a good palmistry, like, if you took a picture of your palm and sent it to the Dude Awake 42, I could give you a pretty good, but not like I did to the clerk and the judge, because they were right there. Okay. Oh, those cute emojis. I love you guys. 89. And checks there. Bob. Knowledge can be received in one's own subconscious. Yep. Without knowing where it came from. Yep. Exactly one. Or how it was acquired. Subconscious knows all. Yep. Our Akashic record. That's our subconscious. Okay, 3 hours and 7 minutes and 57 seconds. I'm getting tired. So this was a great night. Like I said, A+ and a number of stars and a bunch of emojis. So I'm going to dream tonight, and then I'll wake up. It'll be Sunday here. We're having a little snow. Hopefully not much. Put in your eyes that's no more than what we got already, because I don't need another physical thing to deal with. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll talk to you in the morning. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. I've made 3 or 4 nice meals for me and John. So I've done the cooking. Work in your dreams. You walk along. Machines and mothers. Telephonic. You. That's wow. Yep. So at 58, I'm out of here. I love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.